중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 천일국 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
For our opening prayer, may I call on Sarah Murugate? お願いします。
はい、それではお祈りいたします。사랑하시는 하늘 부모님, 존재인 참 부모님, 감사합니다. 사랑합니다. 愛する尊い天の父母様を主体してもらい、天地人誠の父母様、今日もこのようにして尊い一日を迎えられたことに心から感謝申し上げます。また、わずかな時間となっていてまいりますけれども、神様あなたが主観してくださるこの時間の中で、私たちがまた祭礼からいただくこの御言葉を通し、どれほどこの一日が、そしてまた一週間が、そしてその先が本当に私たちにとって神様と共に過ごしていくことのできる時間となっていくことができるのか、そういったことを考えていきながら過ごすことのできるこの尊い時間を迎えていきたいと思います。始めるにあたりまして、至らない、一言でありましたけれど、一言この祈りを祝福中心家庭、パクスンヒョンと私、マルガーテ・サラン・メリーザなのでご報告申し上げました。アージュ。
Thank you, Salam. Let us all have our unison prayer. 시작. Good morning, brother and sister. My name is Jonwa Horiano. I'm future second gen. So I will be the MC for today. Nice to meet you. So next for our reading, may I call on Ryo Gigayan. お願いします。
Good morning, leaders. Good morning, elders. Good morning to all our brothers and sisters. Today, our reading will be from The Mother of Peace, a memoir by Hakja Hanmun. Chapter 3, The Marriage Supper of the Lamb. No matter who you are, you will not experience only sweetness and joy on the path to the kingdom of heaven. Going through spiritual struggle is, in fact, a most precious blessing. Though through it you can feel the grace of God. Only when you pass those tests can you be born anew as a true human being. The fruit of perseverance will grow and ripen within you, and one day will become the source of your deepest pride. I grew up in a time of global turbulence, from which my homeland of Korea was not exempt. As our people endured Imperial Japan's colonial rule and the Korean War, a wild rush of confused ideas and values wreaked havoc on our traditions. The people of the world, even the Christian nation, struggled as their societies descended into chaos. Where were we to turn? When there was no institution to depend on and no shelter to protect my heart, I remembered one thing: God is my Father. I grew up holding the belief that I would realize the dream and hope of God, convinced that within my lifetime I would complete the long, sorrowful, providential journey to restore God's original ideal for His children. I retained my faith, no matter what happened. It was with this heart that I decided to receive the blessing in marriage with Sam Myung-moon and with him, work to prevent religious conflicts and factions from continuing beyond my generation. Conflicts caused by religious division must now stop. I am also determined to resolve racial divisions and the conflicts that have arisen from them. In 1982, I accomplished one of my promises to heaven in the 2 decades after our holy wedding. I bore 14 children, 7 sons and 7 daughters. When they were just days old, my husband and I offered each child to God and the world. Each has supported us heroically in their own way, and each is now pioneering their own course. They have given us more than 40 grandchildren. Now I am always on the move, traveling the 5 seas and 6 continents, working to establish a world without war and conflict, and to release God from His sorrow. Chapter 4, God's light shines upon a path of thorns. Rain and cold wind give way to peace. Already 60 years have passed, said one of my oldest friends from the early days of the church. There is a saying that time is like an arrow, I replied, and it is so true that the path of the last 60 years has flown straight to the target, filled with difficulties and obstacles, together with joy and success. It was April 2014, and she and I were participating in a ceremony commemorating the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Unification Church. I reflected on the church original name, which is the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, and its establishment in a tiny rented house in Bukha-dong in the Songdong district of Seoul on May 1, 1954. Thinking back on the days gone by, our early members who had gathered expressed deep gratitude to each other, recalling the decades of hardship we endured as brothers and sisters in one family. Despite the dire poverty in which the Unification Church began, the Holy Wedding in 1960 launched a new era. We have grown from a handful of members into a global movement, and we see that the divine principle teaching have spread to the ends of the earth. It truly is a miracle. How did God bring this to pass? The key is the salvation of marriage, the oneness of husband and wife made in the image of God. As God called Father Moon to begin his historical mission as a teenager, God also called Hakja Han, a young lady of 17. Nobody could fathom his choosing someone so young. I sensed that I would one day represent all women, God's daughters, the world's mothers. Jesus revealed the heavenly bride as the holy city coming down from heaven. And I accepted this call with firm resolve, and I grew from the position of a heavenly bride to mother of the universe. By God's hand, this mother who prays and longs for God's blessing for all 7.7 billion people on earth can now advance peace widely. As we entered the summer of 1960, our members undertook 40 days of evangelism throughout the country. We called it the New Mind, New Village, New Love movement in all the districts of the entire country. A flame of faith rose up strongly. Some 600 missionaries and local members visited 413 villages and put the word of God into practice in substantial ways. During those 40 days, they cleaned neighborhood pathways, taught the Korean alphabet in village halls by the light of kerosene lamps, assisted farmers and shopkeepers, and shared the principle. The members survived on a daily bowl of powdered mixed grains and overcame fatigue and fierce rejection from people, some of whom called them heretics. They often were lonely, like poplar trees standing alone at the center of a field. Jew.
Thank you, Ryokun. Next, to share his 10 points of gratitude with us, may I call on Masato Benedict Ishikawa? Let us give him a big round of applause. お願いします。
皆さん、おはようございます。今から、10個の、感謝を、述べていきたいと思います。はい。まず1点目が、母が毎日自分のためにお弁当を作ってくれていること。2点目が、会社の先輩方が自分のミスをカバーしてくれたこと。3点目が、仕事から帰ってきたときに、いつも
cover my mistake.
と言ってくれること。
So when I come back from the work, my spouse always say thank you and thank you for your great work. Fourth, my father put the alarm for in the morning and then I can wake up myself. And then my younger sister always encouraged
仕
me.
事で忙しいにもかかわらず、丁寧にわからないことを教えてくれていること。
My company colleague and the elder always guiding
7
me
つ目が
kindly.
高校の時の友人にクラブチームで活躍している友人の試合に招待してくれたこと。
So there is my friend
7つ目
now
が
playing in the club team and they
8
invite
つ目
me
が
to
仕
the
事か
game.
ら家に帰ってきた時、晩ご飯が用意されていること。
After my
で
work,
9つ目が
always
自分が
dinner was ready,
愛
prepared
用
by
していた
family.
イヤホンが見つかったこと。
で
で最後
Ninth,
に
I could found
で
the
です。
earphone
以上
which
で
I
終了
lost.
になりますありがとうございました。
I could not get that. Sorry.
Proceed next for our Oharin song. Please help me to invite Salam Malgate and her father Pat Malgate. Let us give a big round of applause. お願いします。
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
You would like to sing song I Won't Give Up by
Jason Mraz.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. There's so much to hold.
Just like the more stars. See that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. Even you all my love still working up. When you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently
go to the earth. We've got life to learn. God knows we're worthy. No, I won't give up. I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools we guess we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, we're still no friend. I wish we didn't time for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We have to learn how to bend without the world. Can't be again. I have to learn what I've got and what I'm not and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. Giving you all my love, still looking up, still looking up. I won't give up on us. God knows I'm tough enough. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worthy. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. Giving you all my love, still looking up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarang, Tatsan. ありがとうございます。So, next, so for more inspiration, please help me to welcome our national leader, Sir Leo Angelo. お願いします。
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much, Jungwa. First, I would like to greet our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Good morning, our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. To all our beloved leaders, Chandu families, Basanta families, brothers and sisters, good morning to all of you. Ohayo gozaimasu. Thank you very much to our Filipino-Japanese family for hosting today's morning devotion. Really happy to see you, our second generations. Today we are starting new condition. Today is the first day of our 7th 40-day National Morning Devotion. I'm really happy to listen from the very inspiring song of our elder brother Kuya Pat and Sarang. Thank you very much for your beautiful song. Really touching our hearts this morning. Also, I would like to thank our brother Masato-san for his 10 points of gratitude he shared to us today. We are really happy to meet our beloved brothers and sisters. This morning, I will be sharing with you first, before I start, I would like to greet everyone. Happy Sunday to each and everyone, to all our families. Please greet your spouse, your children, brothers and sisters in the center. Today is a very special day. Okay, so today I will be sharing with you this topic entitled The Core Ethics of Conjugal Love. Spouses are subject to each other. Okay, so let's study. True Father said, the way of love is to exalt your spouse 1,000 times above yourself. The way of love is to exalt your spouse 1,000 times above yourself. God went through a course of absolute obedience to humanity to reach the realm where he could love us as his object partners. A husband and wife married in God's love desire to practice just such a high standard of love, the standard of love that God desires from his object partners. Each partner gives the other absolute obedience. Each continually gives and forgets what he or she has given. From that practice, the flower of love blooms between the husband and wife. And so this is really beautiful. So Father is saying that the way of love is to exalt your spouse 1,000 times above yourself. I think in all relationships, in the family, between husband and wife, I think no one is saying that I'm better than my spouse, right? So Father is saying that in this relationship of husband and wife, when we say it's really love or true love, always the spouse thinking that the spouse is better than himself, right? This is the way of love. Father is saying, exalting your spouse 1,000 times above yourself. So this is true love. Even God went through a course of absolute obedience to humanity to reach the realm where he could love us as his object partner. So this is the way of sacrifice that was shown to us first by our Heavenly Parent in order for him to love us as his object partners. So also in the relationship of husband and wife, without sacrifice, we cannot actually love our spouse, we cannot love our object partner. The same is true with our Heavenly Parent. So Father said that a husband and wife married in God's love desire to practice just such a high standard of love, the standard of love that God desires from his object partners. So each partner gives the other absolute obedience. Each continually gives and forgets what he or she has given. From that practice, the flower of love blooms between the husband and wife. So between husband and wife, when we are giving something to our spouse, we are not actually keeping a list of what we are giving, right? But always we feel not enough. I need to give more, right? We always feel that we are not really giving much or enough to our spouse, because this is the standard that God originally have set. That's why also husband and wife, that is married in God's love, also desire to practice such a high standard of love that comes from our Heavenly Parent. Aju, that's why for husband and wife, we have to always, look at our spouse that he or she is above us. He or she is better than us. This is the relationship of husband and wife centering on true love. Why people are fighting? Why husband and wife are fighting this time? When they argue, they always tell to the spouse what are the things that they have done to the spouse, right? And then they put down their spouse, their partner. This is the reality. This is the reality in the fallen world. That's why husband and wife fights, right? And then end up to divorce. In the Philippines, we don't have divorce, but many people are separated, right? Because of really cannot unite, cannot become one. So if people will going to, or husband and wife will just practice this way, then for sure, right? Husband and wife will never separate. If always they think that their spouse is better than them, their subject partner, right? And then they really practice absolute obedience, and then continually gives and forgets what they have given, then what will going to happen? So Father said the flower of love blooms between the husband and wife. Really amazing. This is really basic things for us to understand, to really build strong relationship between husband and wife, and really husband and wife can become one. Father said, loving your spouse as God. You who were born as a woman should have the attitude that you will love your husband as God and as the representative of all humanity. Unless you love him more than anyone in the world, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Likewise, you men should know that unless you love only one woman and love her as God and the representative of all humanity, you cannot love God or humanity. That's why our spouse, when we are still single, we look for God. We pray to Heavenly Parent, but True Parents is educating us that, our spouse is like the substantial God. So you don't need to look for God anymore when you're married. So now it's now time for you to attend substantially the substantial God. And then who is that? That is your spouse. So our spouse is, we need to love our spouse as God. So Father said that you who were born as woman should have the attitude that you will love your husband as God and as the representative of all humanity. Unless you love him more than anyone in the world, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. That's why without loving our spouse more than anyone else in the world, without loving our spouse as God, we cannot enter kingdom of heaven. The same is true with men. Father said, you men should know that unless you love only one woman and love her as God and the representative of all humanity, you cannot love God or humanity. That's why once we are married already, it's now time for us to practice loving God substantially through our spouse. That's why our life has no meaning without our spouse, right? Because God is the source of life. So our spouse, substantially, after we get married, our spouse is God, so we have to attend God. As husband, how we attend God, how we attend our spouse, our wife. And then as wife, how you will attend your husband as God. So really beautiful when husband and wife think like this, when husband and wife act like this, right? And really practice this in their family. Can you imagine there will be no more broken homes? There will be no more divorce. There will be no more husband and wife that will going to separate. Aju? But because, people are ignorant. They don't know how to attend the wife. So many people, they just marry for the sake of their own happiness. That's why people choose their spouse. I need to, this one is beautiful, this one is handsome. So I will marry this guy, I will marry this woman. So with this kind of thinking, this is a selfish thinking, right? This is only thinking for oneself, not to really attend the spouse. So that's why after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years, then already, like, they are not happy anymore because of the thinking that they marry for the sake of themselves. Not to attend the spouse, but for them to fulfill their desire. So people marry like this. That's why they choose. That's why what happens? With this wrong motivation, with this ignorance, what happens? So many broken homes, many broken families, many children are suffering. That's why also children cannot, cannot see the ideal. They cannot also prepare very well. They're not thinking also to really have good families, ideal families, because they couldn't see with their own parents. But if only, husband and wife will going to have this kind of thinking and they were able to prepare well. And then once they meet their spouse, it's like meeting God substantially, attending God substantially. If spouses, husband and wife think like this, act like this, there will be no more broken homes. Aju? Truly amazing. So Father said we cannot go to the kingdom of heaven really without our spouse. Without attending our spouse like God, we cannot go to the kingdom of heaven. Aju? Truly amazing, right? True parents' guidance. So Father is saying here, if we cannot love God, our spouse, love our spouse as God, and as the representative of all humanity, we cannot also love God. We cannot also love humanity. Maybe some people, they use it as a alibi, just to attend God, but they run away from their spouse. So really, True Parents is teaching us very clearly, right? So once we are married already, then we can already attend God substantially through our spouse. Truly amazing, right? So that's why our spouse, they are God. So we need to attend them as God. Father said, a person who lives with true love attends her spouse as God. So a wife who lives with true love attends her husband as God. Moreover, she attends him as she would attend Christ, the Lord. So Christ is the King of Kings. Therefore, she attends her husband like a king. When she rejoices in her husband as if she were beholding the Lord, she is lifted up to the value of God's partner. And as God's partner, she would manifest the value of God. Likewise, a husband with true love attends his wife as God, as the bride of Christ, and as a queen. So we are learning all these things now, but we cannot expect actually. We are all still in the growing period. Even though we are already married, we received the blessing, even we became Chonbo families, still we couldn't perfect this. So maybe now we are learning this, maybe we will expect from our spouse, oh, I'm your husband, you need to attend me as a king. Oh, I'm your wife, you need to attend me as a queen. But how this time as we are learning continuously, how can we really do our best to attend our spouse instead of expecting that our spouse will attend us, right? But how can we attend our spouse if both parties, husband and wife, think like that? Then we can really build perfect relationship. We can perfect each other, right? So centering on true love, Father said, centering on true love, we need to attend our spouse like Christ, like the Lord, or like the wife or the bride of Christ. Aju? So, this time really we were given the opportunity to really perfect each other. So we cannot just, live with our spouse expecting that our spouse will attend us. Otherwise, it will create a lot of problems. This is where problems comes in, when selfishness is present in the relationship of husband and wife. When you expect more than you give, right? You expect something. My wife needs to attend me. I'm very tired doing my mission, and then when I arrive home, even my wife didn't prepare my food, saying like this, then what will going to happen, right? You expect, then you tell her, you need to pray. But as a husband, even though I'm working every day, doing my mission every day, but still when I come home, how can I help my wife, right? How can I wash the dishes when the dishes are still there? How can I help my wife taking care of children, right? Instead of expecting of your spouse. Yeah, this is the reality, what's happening in the society now. People who are working, the husband who's working outside, when they comes home, they expect a lot, that everything is prepared by the wife. Then they're also not thinking that the wife also is very busy taking care of the children, right? That's why centering on true love, right? If we have this kind of thinking and character, do you think there will be still, misunderstanding between husband and wife? There will be no more, right? If we always think of how to serve and how to attend. That's why, we are really grateful that two parents have guided us. So siguro tayo somehow, the basic things, right? Even I, myself, when I come home, of course, sometimes maybe as fallen person, we expect, right? But instead of expecting, try our best to help our wife, to support our wife. Even though we are also, did a lot of, our mission, our responsibility, but even when we are very tired, instead of expecting, right, is still our mind, our heart is how to help, how to serve, and how to attend our spouse. With this kind of relationship, then there will be no quarreling between husband and wife, right? If each one is always thinking of how to attend, how to serve, even though we are already very tired, this is really living for the sake of others. This is really what we call sacrifice. This is what we call true love. Of course, the practice is really not easy, but with the guidance of true parents every day, we can really perfect this relationship. And then once our relationship is perfected between husband and wife, naturally our children will going to learn the best way. When they also will become a husband, when they will become also a wife, they will do the same way as what they have learned from their parents. Aju? Really, really amazing, right? To parents' guidance. Father said, practice absolute obedience, absolute sacrifice, and absolute love towards your spouse first. You should have absolute obedience, absolute sacrifice, and absolute love for God. But before practicing all this for God, first, practice it for your wife or for your husband. So also, we are really doing our best. We need to attend Heavenly Parent, with absolute faith, absolute love, absolute obedience. So Father today is telling us, before practicing absolute obedience, absolute sacrifice, and absolute love to Heavenly Parent, first we need to practice this to our spouse, our husband, to our wife, right? So before we can do this and attend God this way, first we need to practice this to our husband. Absolute obedience, absolute sacrifice, and absolute love. Really, relationship of husband and wife is really not easy, especially also if you come from a different, nationality, different country. Of course, even though we come from one nation, in the Philippines alone, we have many, our backgrounds also, we are really different, different culture in the Philippines, different areas. We have even different, dialect, different practices, different. That's why it's really not easy, many differences. But this is what's beautiful when once these two become one, and then you started to understand each other, right? Your scope even expanded, right? So really, how can we practice? Father said, first, all these things to Heavenly Parent, we need to practice first to our spouse. Absolute obedience. That's why yesterday we learned the position in, between husband and wife. Sometimes we are father or son, younger brother, like this. Or sometimes we are mother. Sometimes we are in the position of a daughter or younger sister. So how to practice absolute obedience when sometimes your husband is telling you something or your wife is telling you something? You have to think that your husband or your wife is like in the parent position. So as a son, as a daughter, you need to absolutely obey, absolutely follow, right? That's why how to practice absolute obedience. Not always that you are the ones that is right. Right? Sometimes we can see some families, like the husband or the wife is always in the subjective position. That is not the proper way. Maybe you are lucky that you have a husband that is always very humble, but that is not the proper way. Otherwise, you will not grow together. That's why sometimes I could see, blessed families, even some even quite old already families, I could see sometimes also the relationship. Of course, even my relationship with my wife, not yet perfect. But also, I could see some difficulties with spouses, husband and wife. That's why it should be, in husband and wife relationship, the position there is, spiritual, or you have to experience all positions between husband and wife. That's why you cannot be always like in the, standing on the subject position. Not because your nation is from like this, they are subjective people. That's why now, because of True Parents teaching, we have to start to change our thinking, our understanding, our belief, right? How to really, understand each other. Otherwise, like your relationship is okay, but the position are not, really changing, and you didn't experience other positions, you cannot really grow well, you cannot develop well. There will always be limitation. There will always be limitation. That's why husband's responsibility also is the growth of his wife. Wife responsibility also is the growth of the husband. We have to help each other grow and develop and perfect each other, perfect their character. That's why this relationship, sometimes we stand in the position of a parent, or sometimes we stand in the position of a son or a daughter, right? Or a younger sister or a younger brother. That's why everyone between husband and wife needs to practice absolute obedience. Sometimes you stand in the position of a son or a daughter, so you practice absolute obedience. And then absolute sacrifice, standing in the position of a parent. Sometimes you are in the position of a parent to your spouse. So absolute sacrifice for your spouse. And then absolute love. Whatever character your spouse has, absolute love. Without, looking with all the limitations and shortcomings of your spouse, you embrace absolutely, you love absolutely. Aju, really amazing, this relationship of husband and wife. That's why Father said, before we practice this to our Heavenly Parent, we have to practice first to our spouse. Aju? Father said, what is the most valuable part of human body? What is the most valuable part of the human body? It is the love organ. What is the love organ? It is the reproductive organ. Does your reproductive organ belong to you? No, it belongs to your spouse. Who decided that? God. It is the way God created heaven and earth. Everything in creation was created for love. Therefore, no creature has its reproductive organ for its own sake. Each achieves love by offering its reproductive organ to its partner. Connecting with your partner is the only way to complete love. This is the heavenly law. So really, what is the most important part of our body? Father said, where husband and wife can really become one. This is our reproductive organ, our love organ, our sexual organ. This doesn't belong to us, right? This belongs to our spouse. So we are not the ones who are deciding where to use or when to use this. You know, this belongs to our spouse. We need to understand the ownership here, right? The ownership. So our sexual organ belongs to our spouse. So Father said that connecting with your partner is the only way to complete love. This is the heavenly law. This is very important for us to understand. Father said, no creature has its reproductive organ for its own sake. Each achieves love by offering its reproductive organ to its partner. Connecting with your partner is the only way to complete love. This is the heavenly law. So the ones who decides, actually, you know, Father said here that connecting with your partner is the only way to complete love. So only when we have, you know, actually sexual relationship with our spouse, this is really the, you know, the core point of, you know, husband and wife becoming one when they, you know, have love relationship. So this is the heavenly law, Father said. So here we need to understand the ownership. You know, we have maybe really, sometimes I could hear difficulties between husband and wife. Also, especially with this relationship, you know, that's why I'm grateful that our, you know, blessing department also, they are focusing more later on in guiding our blessed families. I think young couples who just started family also, they have a lot of difficulties about this relationship. So really here now we need to understand the ownership. You know, the owner of our sexual organ is our spouse. That's why sometimes the use also of this depends on the spouse. But anyway, many factors also need to really understand each other, husband and wife. Sometimes, you know, we need to have a healthy sexual relationship. Husband and wife need to have a healthy sexual relationship. This is really very important. When we have this healthy sexual relationship, then, you know, we can always feel love within, you know, that relationship with husband and wife. And maybe we can, you know, I could hear some, you know, difficulties about this one. So anyway, we have also elders here who can really guide. So anyway, I'm grateful that BFD later on will be focusing more on guiding our couples, especially those who have just started their family, young couples, right? So it's really important. So among among the parts of our body, the most important is the sexual organ. This is where husband and wife connect, and then this is where they can really experience the highest level of love, where heavenly parents can come, can be experienced that love of heavenly parent. That's why we have to really, you know, have a good, you know, relationship between husband and wife with this one. Aju? So that's why husband and wife needs to really understand clearly about the value of the sexual organ and how can, you know, really experience heavenly parents. And then through this, Father said that this is the only way for us to complete love. Aju, that's why husband and wife needs to have really very healthy sexual relationship. This is really, really very important. Aju, this is the only way to complete love. So Father said, true love is absolute, unique, and unchanging. True love is absolute, unique, and unchanging. Do you need true love? Only when you are connected to true love can you become an owner of love who is absolute, unique, unchanging. What does this mean? It means that a man alone cannot be an owner of true love. He can perfect his love only through connecting with his counterpart, who is the owner of his reproductive organ. A woman can perfect her love only when she connects to true love. This means when she takes ownership of her husband's reproductive organ and her husband takes ownership of her. So, this is really very important to understand. Sometimes problems in the family, husband and wife, begins when they also doesn't have good sexual relationship. So Father is saying here, Father said that true love is absolute, unique, and unchanging. Do you need true love? Only when you are connected to true love can you become an owner of love who is absolute, unique, and unchanging. So the only way for us to be connected to true love is when we become the owner of love who is absolute, unique, and unchanging. So what does this mean? Father said, it means that a man alone cannot be an owner of true love. He can perfect his love only through connecting with his counterpart who is the owner of his reproductive organ. So a woman can perfect her love only when she connects through love. This means when she takes ownership of her husband's reproductive organ and her husband takes ownership of hers. Actually, this is really, the time when husband and wife take ownership. This is when they have sexual relationship with husband and wife. This is the only time that they can really inherit true love, which is absolute, unique, and unchanging. That's why really husband and wife needs to have really a very good and really healthy relationship, sexual relationship. Sometimes our problems can be solved. Actually, even, when we have good relationship between husband and wife, when the husband takes ownership to the wife's reproductive organ and then the wife takes ownership to the husband's reproductive organ. Really amazing. We need to really understand this deeply. Why? This is actually the high humanity. Human beings want to experience happiness. The only way for human beings to experience the highest joy and happiness is once they become one through their sexual organ. Aju? That's why actually all problems also can be solved by this. Once husband and wife are really having a very intimate and really healthy, good relationship, especially, when they become one through the reproductive organ, even all problems can be solved between husband and wife. All problems in the family. Once husband is happy, once wife is happy, all problems can be solved. Aju, this is very important. This is really very important. Really, I think we really need to guide more our plus families, young couples, how to have this healthy relationship. And then all problems in the family, all problems between husband and wife can be solved once this relationship is good and really, really healthy relationship between husband and wife. Aju? So the only way for us to inherit is once we, sabi ni Father dito, take ownership of our spouse sexual organ. This is the time when husband and wife are becoming one. Aju? That's the time also that Heavenly Parent can really come and experience the greatest, the highest joy and happiness. Aju? Really amazing. Actually, there is a book that we are, I think the BFD are, recommending that to the husband and wife, to the couples, right? That is, I think, written by our one member from Japan, but centering on true parents' words. That is very good guide for our couples, because once the relationship of husband and wife is intact and good, really nothing, no problem that cannot be overcome. Aju, once this is healthy relationship, really can overcome anything, and really the family can be happy. Father said the husband holds the key to his wife's holy place and vice versa. So the husband holds the key to his wife's holy place, and a wife holds the key to her husband's holy place. No one can enter it without that key, which is conferred by marriage. Does a man's sexual organ belong to the man or to his wife? It was not created for the man, but for the woman. Do you understand? Since the male organ was created for a woman, it belongs to the woman. Therefore, you men cannot use it as you wish. Only your wife can use your organ as she wishes. This is the heavenly law. So take note of this, really this is important. Father said, we cannot use, our sexual organ as we wish. Anytime we wanted, only the owner can use this as she wishes. So this is an important point, right? Sometimes really husband and wife, they have really difficulties, finding time together. When is the right time? If we really think about, living for others, sacrificing for others. Of course, there are situations, there are factors, really, we need to have deep understanding of heart, husband and wife. You need to feel and understand the desire also and the need of your spouse. As a wife, you need to understand the need and the desire of your husband. This is important point. The same is true with the husband. Having this, relationship between husband and wife, especially, becoming one through sexual relationship. Each one, husband and wife, needs to understand the need of the husband, the need of the wife. The husband is the owner. The same is true. The wife is the owner. Father said here, for only your wife can use your organ as she wishes. The same is true actually with the husband, right? But of course, sometimes the desire of husband and wife is different. But that's why we need to understand, we need to have a deep connection of heart. But really, this is really important for us. If we have deep connection and understanding, and then we can make this relationship healthy, really all problems in the family can be solved. Really important. The husband has the key to the wife has the key to the husband. The husband is the owner of the wife is the owner of the husband. So the use of this depends on the owner, right? Depends on the owner. That's why husband and wife needs to understand. That's why without deep understanding and connection of heart between husband and wife, always they have problems, especially in, love relationship. Always they will have problem. And then once the problem starts from there, all problems will arise. All problems will arise and then slowly, become difficult, the relationship. Once the relationship of husband and wife become difficult, relationship between parents and children, the entire family relationship will be affected. Really, this is very important, very, very important. Father said, love comes to you only from your partner. When all men and women recognize that their sexual organ belongs to their spouse and not to themselves, they will bow their heads and become humble when they receive their spouse's love. Love comes to you only from your partner. If you do not live for the sake of your partner, what you are doing is not love. Really, all people are longing for love. But actually, love will only come from our partner. Love only comes from our partner. So Father said, when all men and women recognize that their sexual organ belongs to their spouse and not to themselves, they will bow their heads and become humble when they receive their spouse's love. That's why if only we have this clear understanding about this, sabi ni Father, then how humble the husband or wife is, then there will be no more fighting. Once we receive love from our spouse, we became very humble. Right? We are not worthy actually to receive. So when husband or wife have this kind of thinking, then there will be no fighting. So in order for us to experience love and receive love, only that is coming from our partner. So we need to, humble down. If we understand that love only can come from our partner, even how much good we are, how much great person we think we are, we cannot produce love on our own. Right? That's why the only way for us is to be humble. Right? And in order for us to receive love from our spouse. So if you do not live for the sake of your partner, what you are doing is not love. That's why love is really living for the sake of others. If we are saying that we are, living a life of true love, meaning we are living for the sake of our spouse. We are living for the happiness of our spouse. So as a spouse, if you see your husband is suffering, he's not happy, you are not doing your responsibility. So you have to think, how can I make my wife happy? How can I make my husband happy? So that's why when we look at relationship of husband and wife, if the wife is sad, then the husband is not a good husband. He's not doing his responsibility. If the husband is not happy, always sad and lonely, the wife is not a good wife. The wife is not fulfilling her responsibility to the husband. You were born, I am born, we were born only for the sake of our spouse. We were born to make our spouse happy. So as a husband, as a filial husband, as a filial wife, we need to do everything to make our spouse happy. A Jew, that is a true living for the sake of others. We cannot live for others outside if we cannot live first for our spouse. We cannot make other people happy if we cannot make our husband happy. If we cannot make our wife happy, we cannot make other people happy. That's why as we are, thinking maybe I'm doing a lot of work, I'm sacrificing a lot, I'm, helping a lot of people, but without making my wife, happy and contented, what is the meaning of all these things I'm doing that I'm thinking I'm really sacrificing a lot? It has no meaning. You, even God, you cannot attend God. Father said you cannot, do it to God first. First, you have to apply this to your spouse. So that's why this time you have to think about, you have to check, is my wife happy? Is my husband happy? So maybe I'm not doing my responsibility, so I need to change from now. Right? You cannot just stick with what attitude or character you have once you enter in the husband and wife relationship. You have to eliminate your own thinking. But you become the object, and your purpose of life is to make your subject happy, is to make your spouse happy. That becomes the sole purpose of your existence. That becomes the sole purpose of your life where you are existing, to make your wife, to make your husband happy. Once your husband is happy, your wife is happy, you can make everybody happy. Your family will become a happy family. Wherever you go, you can create happiness. You can give joy, you can give love. Truly amazing through parents' guidance. That's why our young brothers and sisters, we have to prepare very well, right? That's why living for the sake of others, as we practice now, as part of our training, this will be later on applied when we meet our spouse, when we enter in this relationship. So we need to create that relationship. And we have to do our best that our spouse also can live long, right? We need to take care, we need to love, we need to always make our spouse happy. Once our spouse is happy, heavenly parents is happy. Our children will be happy. People around us will be happy. Aju. That's why we create happiness centering on this relationship. Really living for the sake of others. Making our spouse the happiest wife. Making our husband the happiest husband. And then who can do that? Only you, only me, only us. Aju. And then we can create this world, a happy world. Aju, truly amazing through parents' guidance. So really, let's really appreciate our heavenly parent and true parents for, again, this amazing guidance today. Thank you very much to our beloved true parents. So once again, thank you very much to all our placental families, brothers and sisters. May heavenly parents' love and blessing be always upon you and your family. Just have a great Sunday today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Saile, for this beautiful and inspiring message. Let us all give our national leader a big round of applause. ありがとうございます。So, I will short reflection. But English is not good. So today topic is husband and wife and loving your spouse as God. So these words left an impression for me. I received blessing this year. So I'm talking my spouse every day. So sometimes I feel God for him, from him. So God prepare spouse for me, and I gratitude God and to parents. But we fighting sometimes and angry to him. So it is not good. So I need to become good person and attend for him. And my spouse watch morning devotion now. So I want to say I love you from bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. So next for our reflection, please help me to welcome Mrs. Mona Iwano. お願いします。
Hello. Good morning, everyone, brothers and sisters. Wow, Japan and the Philippines. Nice to see you. And wow, the today's morning topic, it's really, wow, it reminds me, a great reminder. Yeah, the core ethics of conjugal love. Well, especially for us who are international couple, it's not easy to really say just I love my husband absolutely. Oh, I can easily embrace my like I can easily love without absolutely. I could not say 100%. Well, I'm still doing within for how many years, how many tens of years of living together. There's still adjustments. There are still need to grow, room to grow love. And listening to this morning's sermons reminds me of, yeah, if we have to focus on ourselves, on myself alone, I need more attention, I need more love, I need only I, for myself only, then my desire of happiness and my ideal of marriage could not really be realized. So the only weapons or the only thing that I always use is just, I always used to tolerate. I have to accept. I have to really, so most of the time, deny my own wants, my own needs. Because we cannot always anticipate a reciprocal relationship because of different characters, because of different cultures, and also backgrounds. We can always consider, especially for the first generations, we have different kinds of backgrounds and to consider. And sometimes we are so subjective, I can say. Why I become subjective sometimes, it's because sometimes also our partner will just sit down and just wait for our initiatives. And sometimes also I wait for the initiative for my husband. So if I always anticipate always of the initiatives for my husband's only, then I feel frustrated. I felt hurt. I felt not so happy, something like that one. So considering the nature of my husband, then I was able to understand, and I was able to accept, and I was able also to realize that, yeah, for me and my husband, I am so vocal while my husband was so silent. And living together for more than 20 years, I realized that I was able to slow down my characteristics. Before I really suffered so much without meeting other people, without going outside with other people, and just stay at home like that one. But later on, as we go together, as we tried to really see ourselves, then I was able to realize that, oh, now I can even keep quiet for a half day without talking. So, and I realized that in a relationship, it's always the give and take action is really necessary. Even a short hug, if we are so tired. Wow, for Japanese, hugging is really strange. I can really say that one, even outside people and even in the Unification Church, even sometimes with my husband, if you have to hug, sometimes it comes, oh, what, nande? Why? So they have always questioned. It's because it's their culture. So if we should not initiate, then our partner also will not do in response. So I am so grateful, especially for the young ones. In a relationship, there will always be understanding, consideration, tolerate. You have to, for me, I have a lot of tolerance. So that we cannot be perfect by ourselves alone. It should be a give and take. And I always remember through Father, during our early days, during lectures, they said, why husband and wife is like our left and right hands. When go together, becomes one. And that's a husband and wife. But if all right, then cannot be together. So it should be left and right. So a couple, a parent should always be what we call sometimes passive, sometimes negative, something like that one, in order for the give and take actions to be done. And and also for us Japanese, I don't know, it's not just give and take action in the bed is not often as we used to, but maybe we have to always consider that one, even though we're getting older. And then for the young ones, for especially for the newly blessed, getting a couple. It's our second generation. My what I can advise is just keep a little bit more understanding, give chance for development, and also don't expect too much from your partner in a abrupt situation. It should be slowly, one step at a time, going forward, but now not going backward. It should be one step at a time, slowly, but continuously. Like a turtle will walk slowly, but still but the fastest one who can walk, because they won't stop, they won't give up, keep going, and they never feel tired. So I remind sometimes of myself, a turtle will always walk together, always walk slowly, one step at a time. But we need really guidance. We need really prayer. We need to always remind ourselves and also always connect ourselves to through parents' teaching. Because this is the only way wherein we can enter to the kingdom of heaven. If we cannot go there, what's the purpose of our life? What's the purpose of our marriage? What will happen to our children, the future children, for the young ones? So our ultimate goal is to enter the kingdom of heaven, but not alone. But
it's very long.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much.
No, I need to share. Hi.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Iwano. So
Sorry.
next to give us his reflection, please help me to welcome my father, Jorima. お願いします。
Thank you very much, my daughter. Thank you, my dear. You have a very nice reflection. I was so happy with that. So same with you. I love your mom. I love your mama. Can you hear me? Hello, good morning.
Loud
You
and
can
clear
hear
po.
me? Okay. So this is my 26 years in Japan. So I love my wife. I love Japanese people. I love this country. Of course, there's no such perfect marriage. There's no perfect wife. There's no perfect husband. But we are bound to be happy because we have true parents. So today's message, the core ethics of conjugal love. Me and my wife, we are partners. So we love to go to church. We love to go to Japanese church, and we love to attend Filipino church. That's the very ethics that we have. So although we are international couple, we have different opinions, we have different thinking, we have different lifestyle, but the very core of us is we love to pray. We love to attend Sunday service in both sides. So this is the different from others. Some others, they like only Filipino church. They don't like Japanese church. So that's the problem. So since my wife is Japanese, we work together with that. So being international couple, our marriage, it doesn't mean there's no problem. Just because we are blessed families, we have a lot of problem. We have stress. We have our own anxieties. Even if you say, my marriage is perfect, no, I cannot say. Because we have different situations. I have 5 children, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3. So our situation is very much difficult. But, you know, living in Japan for 26 years, our life here is very fast. We need to move early. We need to work hard because there's no time for space. So this is different from us. That's why our situation have many different flavor. Philippine marriage and Japanese marriage is different, but we need to adjust. So in my thinking, based on True Father's words, we should be the one to initiate. We cannot wait to wash the dishes. Dapat tayo munang maghugas, tayo magluto. Di pwedeng sabihin, oh, Mrs., nakagluto ka na ba? No need to say that. We need to initiate. So I'm not promoting myself. I'm doing this. You know, me and my wife, we have a very working ethic because we both work hard. We even work on Sundays. So, but we need to see to it that we can take care of our children. We can send them to school. We can send them to Sunday service. We can send them to seminar. And of course, it needs a lot of money. So we need to work hard. I'm a ship builder, but I have another job. I was as a part-time driver, a part-time job. I was washing dishes in the restaurant. So to meet the demand of life. So that's how we maintain our relationship. But it doesn't mean we don't fight. We don't quarrel. No, it's normal. But we can adjust because the bottom line is we both attend True Parents. We both do hondoke. Maybe not a perfect time, but we do hondoke in a family. So this is my real life in Japan. So I respect my wife. She really work hard. So I see to it that how to make our life more healthy or happier, because she works hard. She cook, She worked, she sent the children to school, she drive, and many things, she helped the church. So, hindi ka pwedeng patong ka lang ng patong sa misis mo eh. I mean, hindi ka pwedeng mag-love lang. You need to demand for her. You need to do something. So this is our real life. So usually the problem comes when a husband only brings small money in reality. And this is reality. That's why some of us, I cannot do it same because I don't have money. So how to solve this problem is I need to do another part-time job. So I have no time to play. My job is my play. My job is my hobby. So that's how we maintain our life. So we cannot say I don't have money. You cannot say I don't have arbeit. I don't have overtime. That's why my salary is small. We need to really double. And because why I say this, because I almost end. Why I say this, because we have so much wealth. We learn from true parents' words. And lastly, one of the will the true parents teach us is the will to do fundraising. And that asset can be used to expand and make more money. And lastly, I want to say thank you to our national leader for so much wealth of morning devotion. Man, to say thank you, I need to mean it. Means we need to do our part. We need to give. We need to reciprocate. That's why we'll do our best that we will become Chumbo couple as well. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you so much. And next is international guidance. So may I call on HQ staff?
No need na po.
Okay. So for our closing prayer, may I call on Filian Takahashi? お願いします。
Please join my prayer. お祈りいたします。愛する天皇父様、天地人もそのお母様、愛しています。ありがとうございます。愛しています。また、このようにして、朝のひととき、あなたの前に、またこのように訓読会を捧げていきますことを心より感謝申し上げます。本日は、レオナショナルリーダーより、神様と同じように相対を愛すること、そして夫婦の愛についてまた学ぶことができました。私たちが訓読会でから御言葉をまた実践し、神様を中心として、そして日々の中で御言葉を実践しながら、私たちの心の中に常に神様あなたが
So everyday life, I would like to practice true parents' word, and then so today is the first day of another 40 days of morning devotion. That's why we would like to offer the gratitude, and then always I want to try to be closer to God and true parents. I want to decide to be closer to the true parents. So I would like to offer my prayer with gratitude.
Thank you, Filian.
The name of the Filian Takahashi.
Let us all have our unison prayer. 시작. 10. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, for participating in our morning devotion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Hello, good morning.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Good morning. Bye, everyone.
Happy Sunday to everyone.
Wonderful
They ask very much to love each other.
so much.
Happy Sunday.
Sunday, happy Sunday. Thank you.
So much, Sir Eli. Have a blessed Sunday.
Bye. Everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you, Sir L.A. Good morning. Arigato.
Tita Anita. Thank you. Kahit nasa labas ka, nagantay ka pa rin ng bundok eh.
Maganda at masaya yung
감사합니다.
Jika ganay dahil po sa
Wonderful message.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.